SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
No, honestly, this is my fault, because what Max said, I didn't know what a scrum meant. I'm not into Australian football, so I really wasn't sure what it meant, but I can't believe I'm here. It seems like September 24th makes this the longest season known to mankind. If you play any time at the March Big Ten tournament, we're borderlining a 6-month season now, and that concerns me a little bit. It concerns me about where we're going and what we're doing in our own profession, but we're aware of the expectations and what they are, and I think we've been here once or twice before in some publications, but it's not the norm. But our goals have always been to win championships. Our goals have always been to get better each and every game. Our goals have, I don't think, ever been to win 40 games or something like that, and I only say that because that's why we schedule like we schedule. What happens in October, November, December matters to me, and only from the standpoint of us learning, what we got to do with our team. I said it a million times. It started with John Chaney explaining to me that if you play good people, you figure out if you're not very good. You figure out if you are very good. You figure out what you want and what you don't want. And players kind of understand where they are. And I still think it's good. The biting off of the big schedule, like we've done many years, gets compounded because it's all within 25, 6, 7 days, and with some decent travel and some very, very good teams. And ironically, everybody hears of the Dukes and the Kansases and the Kentuckys and the Carolinas, but Seton Hall still could be, when I read some of the magazines I've read, and have 8 out of 9 starters and all that, and I know how well coached they are. So we got our hands full with our schedule. As far as the team goes, we're fortunate enough to have 3 starters back, but this kind of perception like we didn't lose anybody is not there either. I mean, we lost 30 points and 15 rebounds out of those 3 guys, and an incredible amount of experience. Nick started for 2.5 years till he got hurt. McQuaid might have had his best game in the opening game of his freshman year, and then injuries, but he's had very much experience, and Kenny Goins kind of grew within the system, and each one of them brought something to the table. So you're always concerned about losing those, but with Cassius Xavier and Aaron Henry back, and a guy like Kyle Arns, who's had a great summer once he got healthy, I think we've got enough experience back. We have to replace the 3 players, but I think we're going to be able to do that with the Kithiers, the Gabe Browns, and the Marcus Binghams. And then we got to see what our freshmen do, and whether those guys can step up early. I think we'll have a lot to do. The negative is they're going to step up in some of the biggest games of the year, and how they handle that, whether it be Madison Square Garden, whether it be a home night with Duke, whether it be in Maui, or whether it be on the road in a tough non-conference game, only time will tell. I think the other big key for us is where's Josh Langford. He started practicing full go a couple weeks ago, which means he had contact, cutting, jumping, doing all the things you got to do. And, he's been good, but nowhere near where he was when he ended his part of his career here last year when he got hurt. And I think he'll be a big key because he's a 2-way player that can play offense and play defense. He was playing some of his best basketball before he went down. We all know he's missed 6 or 7 months. I don't think we're going to see the real Josh Langford in October, November, maybe even December. But I think as he grows, he'll get better and better, and that'll be critical. People have asked me about Joey Hauser. There was a petition sent in, as there is for every kid who transfers. We knew when we got him that there was probably a slim chance of him being eligible. He knew that when he transferred. We knew that when he transferred. We're still awaiting some decisions on it, but as I've said before, I think that is a long shot, and I just stick to that until I know for sure. And other than that, I'll open up for some questions.
Jimmy Boylan talked about in the NBA when a player is injured, however long they're out, they expect that much time for them to be healthy. So with Joshua being out 6 or 7 months, for you to say you're hoping December, that's a pretty ambitious goal,
Yeah.
is it not?
And I think, when Jimmy says that, I've heard that. I've heard also that it takes about half the time to come back. I think both of those are realistic. Josh is a guy that's worked his tail off, number one. Number two, we were very cautious in the summer. Okay. Maybe we could have brought him back in July. He was doing a lot of things on his own. The live workouts weren't there on those. So I would say in general, maybe he was out 5.5 months, and maybe it takes 3 months to come back, and that ends up September, October, November, maybe even into December. But at the same time, I think the negative that some coaches have told me about when you try to play a tough schedule, confidence becomes a big part. And his confidence, I think he's a pretty confident kid, but if things don't, he's going to want to get everything back overnight, and that's probably not going to happen. I'm really pleased by the direction he's gone and how he's handled it. He stayed in the best shape he could be in, and percent body fat, his weight, and everything like that he could control has been great. He must have shot more shots sitting in a chair than any human being since Sean Resper. And so I worry. My biggest worry is not his work ethic. It's too much work ethic. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to, kind of keep that. The other thing is, Cassius was hurt a little bit at the end of last year. I think his summer has been phenomenal for him. We didn't let him do anything for a while. It's a long year when you go an extra 3 weeks. And Xavier, he's big and strong, and we're just going to try to beat the hell out of him and not worry about him. So Arns, the other guy that was injured, missed probably a third of the summer. And realistically, by August, he was playing as good as anybody in the practices. We'll see what that translates into.
Would you say so as important as Josh's health is also, let's say, if he integrates back, this offense changed the way it was running from the last time he was
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, how much does that factor into him working back in?
I'm not as worried about that. McQuaid had some shots that Josh would get. He just didn't always take them. And both of them are pretty good defenders, McQuaid got to do a little bit more defensively because we needed that. But I don't think that part of it, Josh, and the scrimmaging we've done, I think if anything, as he said, his passing seems better, which I think is something he had to work on. Cassius' leg strength seems better. That's what he had to work on. In Josh's case, as he said to me, watching from the sidelines, sometimes you learn a lot. And I think he watched from the sidelines, watched in the film session, didn't have the same pressure on him, and I think learned a lot.
With Kyle, how much do you have to, from this point forward, maybe manage his back and make sure?
The question is on Kyle. What do you have to do? I mean, Kyle's gone through hell since he's been a junior in high school. It's broken legs, it's this, it's that. And some of them are freakish things that I don't look at as lingering. It's not a knee injury. The back can be a problem a little bit. And he's still like some of those quarterbacks, He plays, he's crazy out there, And we're trying to curb a little bit of that, stopping him from jumping on the floor during a scrimmage when it's 3-on-3. We really don't need that. But he shot the ball incredibly well, and he is right now probably our second best athlete to Aaron. So if we can keep him healthy, which he's been, I think he brings a whole nother dimension to that group.
Tom, usually a depth that you have early in the season, or there's some games you'd be able to put like Josh Langford and Cassius on a pitch count and not play as many minutes?
You know, I don't know how early in the season when we open up with Kentucky and we got Duke right down the road and maybe the, Dayton's, Georgia's, Kansas is over there. That is the negative of the tough schedule. If you could do stuff and work them in, but I don't think I'll have them on a pitch count. It's a good analogy though. In general, we got to do better. I got to do a better job, DJ and I, of the substitution. Last year it was sub by necessity. I looked at some of our last games, and we're down to playing 6 guys, 7 guys, and there's no question as I watched that Texas Tech game over and over. Cash played too many minutes. Aaron Henry had that foul trouble in the first half when he played 6 minutes. So he played 20 straight in the second half. It's not only the amount of minutes you play, it's the duration of them. And we didn't do a good job in subbing, and we got to do a better job of that. And I think we've got some bodies and some experience that you're not going to see anybody playing 35 minutes a game this year, I hope.
Tom, you mentioned the bullseyes on your back, the expectations outside the program are, but I'm curious, you said you've been there before, what are you going to do differently to maybe help take some of that pressure off you guys?
I think I'm just going to keep it honest. I kind of like it. I really do. I mean, you jump around, one year you try to downplay it, and listen, we're not the greatest team, we're not North Carolina of 2009. I don't know, you guys should know this, maybe Matt does, maybe Max does, but there hasn't been many teams that have gone number 1 at the beginning, number 1 at the end. Carolina was one that I know of. There was somebody else. I mean, Duke should have done it one of those years, it just seems like, but I don't know. It's the last 20 years, I don't know of anybody that's done it. So, our schedule's so good that if we're feeling the pressure or whatever, it's going to get knocked out of us quick. So, I'm going to embrace it. I mean, I'm to the point in my career, and I look at these last 4 or 5 years and the number of games we've won and who we've played and who we've beaten and what we've done. I'm really proud of where the program is right now, and I'm not going to use this as enjoy the journey, because I do feel the pressure, but I like feeling the pressure because I talk to Cassius a lot about it. The last couple of weeks, him and I have spent a lot of time together on how to deal with it, and there's no magical number. That's why so few teams have done it. But at the same time, this is what you dream about. If you're a coach, you dream about this. If you're a fan, you dream about this. And if you're a player, you definitely dream about this. And there's, as I said, if we were 5th, 8th, 7th, we have the same chance of doing well at the end of the year. There'll be 8 or 10 teams. When you're 1, the bullseye's more on your back. To people, to me, it doesn't give us a leg up on anything. It just maybe gives the program a leg up that people think we lost potentially 3 starters, and we're still picked that way. I think that's a positive.
How many other years when you've had teams like this, maybe 2013, 14, or 15, 16, or this, you didn't have this many new parts and new roles.
That's right.
In some ways, is that good in terms of, I don't want to say boredom, but there's becoming a fuel for a lot of guys individually too, so.
Well, what I like is, even though we have some experience in Cassius and is one, I don't think the pressure will get him. I think it'll get him a little more than he thinks, but I don't think it'll get him like it will some guys, because it's just the way the kid is. Xavier, on the other hand, is that way too. So I think we have 2 bookends on each side. In Josh, he's got something to prove because he was out last year. So that's a plus. I am worried about how the new guys, who's going to be our 4 men? Who are we going to play there? I can't say I know right now. There's some candidates, but I don't know how they'll play in the heat of the battle. So None of them have played a lot. Probably Kithier has played the most. Bingham has had a pretty good summer. He's made some progress. A couple of those freshmen may help us right away. But you're right, the freshmen, they've got, not only they come to a major college, but they got the pressure of being one and letting everybody tell them how good they are and this and that. And so that's going to be interesting to see how they deal with it and how much we use those guys.
What about individually with Cassius? I mean, he's getting a lot of player of the year nods already, coming off everything. I guess, what did last year do for him, and how much did you see after you made him captain mid-season, a change in him?
Well, I think that's really the important part right now. After, he is one of our captains, and he's going to be an important cog because he has the experience, and where I think he can help the freshmen. He came in with not glowing things, but he wasn't a McDonald's guy or something, but he came in and maybe didn't have as good a freshman year. So I'm hoping he can help some of the freshmen through that. I think what he can do is he's a kid that doesn't get nervous, and so I think he'll help with a calming effect to that. What I'm hoping he does is stays even more driven because I think players respect what he can do, and I'm hoping he leads a little better, even more so than he did. And I'm anxious to see how we start practice today because I think that's the real part. We have not had a lot of practices, even though we've gone all summer. I did not go 4 hours a week. I brought it down a little bit. I tried to convince them that if they'd come in on their own, that was better than practicing all the time because I am worried about the length of these seasons now. But, we sat Cassius out for half the summer, really, probably. I mean, he still worked out, but didn't play a lot. Josh missed more than that. Arnie missed half. Those are 3 of our better players. So that put a lot of weight on Aaron and Xavier, but I will say this. If I looked at who's had the best summer physically, improvement in his shooting and ball handling, defense, I think Aaron Henry has had as much improvement of anybody. So if there was a change from the end of last year to this year by one player, he might have taken the biggest steps. Gabe Brown would be right behind him.
Julius Marble spent a lot of time with him this summer, and he talked about, he said, it doesn't matter if I can shoot threes, doesn't matter if I can dribble, if I can't play defense, only thing I'm going to do is sit the bench. Have you had a freshman come in who got your defensive mindset so early like he has?
Well, Julius was coached by, those of you that remember Bob Hill, used to be coach of Spurs. His son coached him, and Bob is retired now and is down there and spent a lot of time with Julius. And great coach, great guy. So I think that helped him. At the same time, Julius is, he's kind of a sort of an Alan Aganya type guy where his skills aren't quite where the rest of them is, but he very smart kid, went to a very, very good school down there and very disciplined kid. So, we'll see. I mean, we'll see today. We'll see this week. I mean, this is when the rubber hits the road, and we've had a summer when, we've made it enjoyable a little bit because of the number of injuries we had and trying to get guys healthy and back, but it'll intensify starting today.
Those of us who covered you a long time have watched Steven grow up. You and he have a very good, unique relationship. How special is it going to be to look down on the bench and say?
I'm glad you brought that up because, let me explain something without being derogatory to him. There were some things he was going to do last year that I set this as a goal because he was going to be a manager maybe, and he wanted to walk on because he saw all these other coaches, Calipari, Mike Krzyzewski's grandson, Bill Self, and then as always, when you do something like that in this wonderful world of Twitter, people attack it like it's play. That's not his fault. Blame me. It's my fault, But I'll tell you what, if one more person attacks me on Twitter or him on Twitter, they're gonna have to pay through me, because I've given up 18 years of my life and he's given up 18 years of his life. And I don't plan on starting him against Kentucky, okay? I don't plan on playing him against Kentucky. But having him around, learning how to be a good teammate, learning how to be a little more disciplined, learning the inner side of what his father went through for 18 years is absolutely priceless. Priceless. And even though I don't coach him, that's Mike Garland's job. Mike's known him since he was born, and but I am proud to have him want to be, after all he's seen me go through, wanting to be part of it, and I'm going to make him as big a part of it as I can make him. So, no big deal. I know it's not any of you guys, but I just get a kick out of how my favorite topic in America, and of course I don't read it, I just hear it, but shame on them, you know. Somebody better get a life. If somebody had kids, they'd have a better understanding. And by the way, I pay for his scholarship. He doesn't. He's on the Izzo scholarship, not on the MSU scholarship. So there's no worries there. I got a few more minutes, Mex. Mex is getting nervous. You know, he wants me. I don't know. You know, now we got to go back to having something at my house so we can have a real round table now that things are somewhat human again.
Hey, number one in the nation brings that up.
Brings that up.
Larger casual
Larger.
gathering.
I got a question, just as far as shooters go, I mean,
Yeah.
Matt Quigg's obviously your guy, and kind of do that. Who is the guy that might be able to fill in?
Well, I think Cash has become a great shooter. I think Gabe is really shooting the ball well right now, right? And probably an improvement of shooters. I mean, remember now, when Josh went down, he was playing really well, shooting really well. But Aaron Henry has improved his shot a lot. I think you'll be surprised how much better Aaron Henry has gotten as a shooter. So you've got that. Marcus Bingham can still shoot it, and he shoots it really well, you know. And there's no question, Joey Hauser is one of our best shooting big men, but may not be with us. So
Is this one of the more well-balanced teams that you've had, maybe not relying on maybe guard play?
yeah, I'd say the one negative is I look at who we're going to play against early. This is not a very big team. We're not a very big team, you know. Marcus, we don't have. I mean, Marcus has some height, but not a lot of girth. And you know, Xavier's our real, I think, solid big guy, but he's 6'8", he's not 6'10", you know. So it's not a real big team, but we're going to have to gang rebound and get Aaron and Gabe involved, get Josh involved in the rebounding a little bit more. I think it could be one of our better running teams that we've had, which could be fun. That's what I'm looking to do.
You mentioned the position for Joe, the position for Joe. Do you have any kind of timeline that you were?
I think in the next week or two, you know, that most of them are coming back now. But as you can tell, I'm not feeling real positive about it. And if I was to be perfectly honest about it, you know me, I've never liked it anyway. But what I don't like is the way some do and some don't, you know. So, I don't know, we might be able to, I think, if we can find out that his great-great-great-great-grandfather lived in Guam, Westphalia, and maybe we could convince people that he's coming back to visit his gravesite, and maybe he'd be eligible.
Speaking again of the loss of McQuaid, when Cassius would take a few minutes off last year, McQuaid would typically bring the ball up. The loss of him, Langford or more Foster Lawyer?
Well, Foster Lawyer's going to play some, I think, Rocket Watts. You know, we haven't talked about him, but Foster has made some improvements too. It was a tough year on him last year, and I knew it would be. I knew he'd have to adjust, but we're definitely going to get Cassius some minutes. Now, he's going to play a lot of minutes, but he's going to get minutes, and that would fall on me. If I don't, shame on me, because what we did is we milked it as best we could milk it last year, and the injuries really, I mean, I still say to this day, if Kyle was healthy, I think that last game would have been a different game. Not necessarily just what he did, just having a body. But then again, I got to develop guys a little bit better and faster, and I'm just happy that we got different rules than football, because I'd sure hate to see Cassius play 4 games and transfer, something like that. So God bless, man. I'm really excited that basketball's a step ahead.
You feel like walking?
Josh is limited the first, month of the season, as you say. Is that a bigger role for Rocket? Does Kyle get more minutes? How does that kind of rotate shape?
Well, I'm hoping still that Josh will get minutes, a lot of minutes, but if we got to be a little more careful, that could be Kyle, that could be Rocket, that could be Gabe. I've got some guys, as we said earlier, who's ready to step up right now. As I look at the summer, as a sub, Gabe has had an incredible summer. Even Rocket, he didn't get here till halfway through because, school finishing. So, I got a lot of good feelings about Gabe right now. He's shooting the ball well. He's playing hard. He's gained some weight. He's been good. 2 more questions.
Is Rocket about where?
Speaking of Gabe, this summer he said one of his goals is to become 6th man of the year. What does that say to you?
That's awesome. I think he's looking at it and knows that going in, at least Josh and Aaron are sort of ahead of him at that position. I think we've talked to him about the Morris Petersons of the world and how he came up, and Morris left-handed, he's left-handed, why not follow in his footsteps? But I also think it talks about the humility of the kid, that he's ready to step into any role. And, I even think we could go small and play Gabe at the 4 a little bit. That could happen some too. So we can go smaller, we can go bigger, we can change up, which I always like. But we'll just see how fast they pick things up.
Is Rocket around where you think he was? He got here a little bit late. And
Getting here a little late hurt him a little bit, but he looks great. He's got an unbelievable first step. And I'm proud to say that, he's done everything we've asked him to do, both in school and out. And right now, we're marching forward. We feel pretty comfortable. It's just, where do we play him? He can play some point, he can play some 2, he can score. He hasn't shot it as well yet. I'm hoping now that comes with more consistency of us practicing every day.
I was going to ask you,
So
how
you
much
spent a lot of time with Cassius this offseason. Have you learned anything about him from being some more personal time?
More the last couple weeks I have since summer. Those guys get sick of me all summer. I don't want to spend too much time with them then, although there's times we get sick of them too, so it's a mutual love affair. But I just, spend time talking. I've talked to him about everything from life to basketball to finances to, it was just kind of a interesting couple of weeks that I don't know if I learned anything different. I felt like if I talked to him about different things than just basketball, I'd get to know, he'd get to know me a little bit more than I care about more than just his game. It's been good. Last one.
Other than the guy you talked about, how, one of the kids went down, remember who went down to Summer League?
Yeah, it was Gabe.
Yeah.
But Gabe needed attention, so he sprained his ankle not that much. And I'm watching, somebody sends me, I'm on the road and they send me this, as you guys get to do now, he sends me this video and Gabe, I was worried it was broke, watching Gabe. And that night I called him, I said, how you doing? He said, I'm fine. I said, do you need a date or what did you do? Did you have to put on a show for somebody? But he had no problems, but is that what the question was? Yeah, no, it is, hey, Gabe, no problem. Plus Gabe had played dead, so it doesn't matter.
You comment on Bingham's body.
Well, Bingham's body has been, he's thin. What can I say? But he got up to 225 from 193, so that was pretty good. But if you or I, you'd say, like, I said one day, Steven's sophomore year of high school, he grew 5 inches, and that brought him up to small, Well, Bingham gained 25 pounds. That brought him up to thin. He was at ultra thin. So he's still got a ways to go. You know, we'd like to get Bingham to 240, 250. But he's making progress, you know. You watch him, he walks around campus, got a backpack on, got a little tube that comes out his feet. Instead of intravenously, just right to his mouth, he's eating round the clock. He's done the things we've asked him to do, kind of keeping his body fat. He's really attacked. He has worked his tail off, you know, and yet still thin, but a lot stronger than he was, a lot better position than he was in. So I'm excited about all of them. I think we had a good summer. We did some testing at the end with their conditioning. It's ironic because we didn't beat the hell out of anybody this summer. We didn't run much. We didn't do that. We kept in the lifting, stretching, doing all those kind of things, playing. But our conditioning was really good. I think it kind of tells you that, you know, these kids need a little time off too. I mean, they don't need to be grinding in every way. So I hope they grind it in the skill way, skill development, strength development, not in the conditioning part where they were wearing them down and wearing their legs down. Like Cassius, he's deadlifting more than he ever did. His upper body, he's put on some weight. I think we worked hard on his quads because, you know, he had a little bit of the knee, just tendonitis. I think that helped him a lot. So, you know, you'll get to see our guys today, I guess. I'm down there today and watch a little bit. And I don't know what you'll see is that much different. But we got a good basketball team. It could be a great basketball team, but we've got some big unknowns, you know. Where everybody picks you one, it's usually when you have, like Carolina, 5 guys came back, 3 of them decided not to go pro, they wanted to win a championship. Well, I don't have quite that kind of team, okay? But I got a bunch of guys that have been through the wars, that have won a lot of games, that have been in some really, really big games, and have a mission and what they want to accomplish. And that mission, you know, my job will be, don't worry about a loss in October or November. Try to get better every day so we get in the Big Ten season and we get to the end of the season, we're peaking at the right time. Last year we did a lot of that, but it's not easy to do. It's not easy for players, it's not easy for coaches, especially when you're picked high, and they'll be, you know, I'm sure most of our fans right now, you know, think we should win every game by 20 points. I'm worried about winning the first game. In fact, I'm worried about winning. I'm comfortable with our exhibition game against Albion. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. Please put that we might be playing an exhibition game. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, everybody.